Sorry, everybody. This is my first time without CK here to give me the appropriate introduction I deserve. But I am your host of the Tea Party on the ORCA pod. I am Annabel, and I am here to chat with some of our lovely contestants from Backyard Season 3. So, first of all, we have the leader of Blood Orange. Welcome to the stage, Ben.
Hello.
And you know what, honey? I don't remember a lot of things from this season because I watched it on 2X, but I do remember your medium high vis shirt.
Yes, it was a good time. I tell you what, it was a long time ago now, but it was a fantastic time. From what I remember, a lot of things happened very quickly, but it was great. Like there was so much to experience, so much backstabbing, lying, and all sorts of stuff happening here, there, and everywhere. Yeah, it was a good time. I loved it.
3 years, but you know what? Not enough time to suppress those memories. Now, also with us, we have the confident queen, also a leader. We'll have you know. Welcome to the stage. It's Maddie.
Hello.
How have you been in the 3 years since? Obviously, this is the highlight of your existence today, right?
It absolutely is. It's an honour to be here as well. Yeah, just moving along in life and still have not watched a single episode of Survivor even since. So.
You weren't one of the ones who were lying about not watching Survivor. You genuinely just don't give a
No,
F.
I genuinely had never watched anything to do with it. I think I'd watched 2 or 3 episodes of Backyard Survivor coming into it, and that was it. So
I felt like you still really shone, though.
I think I feel comfortable in front of the camera, so there was no issues with that. I was very comfortable talking to people and just being myself, which I was worried was going to hurt me, but I got further than I expected, which was nice in the end.
I mean, look, unfortunately, in LRGs, God doesn't love women with opinions who want to be themselves. But I'm so glad you could get out there and represent for us. So I just want to make it abundantly clear for the pair of you and for the audience. I'll indulge you. We can talk about your game and your highlights and things, but I don't really care. What I am here for is the drama, the goss, and to sort of give a little bit more color to Backyard Season 3, because, like, I'm going to be real with you. I did watch a few episodes on 2X. I did not watch the whole thing, but I did listen to CK and Jules' recap, and it didn't inspire me to watch the whole thing, I have to say. So let's raise this up in the viewer rankings. Let's talk about all the drama we didn't get to see. Ben, who are we still friends with today? It's been 3 years. Do you feel like you're part of the Backyard community now?
Well, put it this way. I'm on production since season 4, so I'm very much a part of it. Everyone would, I presume they would know who I am if I'm on it. If they don't, I make it pretty clear who I am. Not in that sense, though. It's more of because I'm having to time keep a lot of the time. And with these sort of shows, I have to sort of if the noise to say time's up. The voice comes out and it's sort of like a booming voice. So that's how people will know me in that sense. But yeah, look, I'm friends with. I mean, me and Maddie are friends. We haven't seen each other for a long time, but I will always say we're friends that we see each other every year or so on when these things sort of happen. It's sort of like our own friendship group in that sense. But yeah, I got started when Amy from season 1. That's how I got brought into this and became friends with Kyle and Brian. But yeah, I'm still friends with a lot of them in that sense. And yeah, it's sort of like a nice group community when we come every year. So yeah.
It's my favorite thing about Backyard is it's really a cult. Like once you get sucked in, it kind of becomes your whole personality, and I'm obsessed with that. All right, what about you, Maddie? So were you friends with Kyle and Brian before the show, and that's how you got involved?
I knew Kyle, so I'm actually friends with Rachel from season 1. Was it season 1 that she was on? Yes. And obviously she knows Kyle quite well. So, I got to know him through her. And then I've stayed in touch quite religiously with Sam, who was on my team, Sammy. And I see Smara occasionally. I bump into Zac all the time, quite spontaneously. So I think you become very friendly with the people you do your season with. And like Ben, I did like a little bit of production work on the following season and kind of follow along with what's happening. I haven't religiously watched the episodes, unfortunately, but I do stay in touch with people as much as I can.
Honey, don't blame you. And speaking of spontaneous fun, we have Mr. Sexy himself. Let's welcome Zac to the stage.
Hello.
Honey.
Hi, how are you guys?
And also a special hello to Benjamin Snyder, our #1 fan. Great to see you back, Ben. Hope you've been nailing your races. All right. So, Zac, have you stayed in touch with the community? Have you joined the Backyard Cult?
Oh, of course, yeah. As religiously as least as the other two. I've done a lot of crew work behind the scenes, and we've got to see our little names in the credits of the following seasons. But yeah, no, I've stayed well in touch with a lot of people. Yeah.
Oh, cute. Love that for you. I mean, unfortunately, I also stayed in touch with some of the people I played with on Melbourne season 3, and that's how I ended up roped in here. All right, so I've got some questions for you, and most of them were put together by CK, so if they're crap, blame him. All right, so first question, team, and we're going to start with Maddie for this one.
God, no pressure.
No pressure, okay? No pressure, but actually quite a bit of pressure. Sammy famously asked the final 3 to fuck, shoot, marry 3 members of the jury, and Kyle and Brian, on brand, super toxic, said that like they didn't have to answer. I would love your fuck, shoot, marries from the cast.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Now you're making me test my memory as well. I'm like, who else was on that season with us?
We all remember who we hated.
I don't remember.
I was still really mad that Kyle and Brian let them veto that question if they wanted. For the record, I agree with you. They absolutely should have had to answer. Could have changed the game. Could have changed my final vote. Who knows?
All right, why don't we do it? Okay, first round, we're just going to start with fuck. All right? Ben,
okay.
Who are we fucking? Who are we fucking, Ben?
Sorry, hold on. I'm just having a look.
I don't remember any of their names, so okay, maybe I'll start.
Yeah, you start.
I'm gonna fuck. I can't remember her name, but she was a marathon runner, and I just feel like she's got the stamina that this girly. I'm on antidepressants,
Mara?
so I need someone who's willing to take their time. So I'm gonna go with marathon runner. All right, Zac, who are we fucking?
Stephen. Me and him got on super well. Yeah, you know what I mean, right? Just a nice guy, good-looking guy.
I forgot Stephen was at our season. That's horrible.
Right? Like it's an emotional fucking. Like we're there together. You know what I mean? Like we were tight.
It's making love. Would you say?
Yeah, it's making love.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And I feel like Stephen and we would appreciate each other in that way, you know?
Yeah, no, I feel you on that. All right, what about you, Maddie? Are you ready?
Yeah, fuck would be Sammy. I just think she's such a babe. Like,
yeah, that's
she's
a good call.
And I do genuinely enjoy her company, so I think it'd be a good mutual time between us.
Yeah.
Hot. And what about you, Ben?
Probably Jake. He fucked me over, but yeah. We do that.
You the one with the little lip piercing?
The tattoos, isn't it?
Yeah. It's just
I
feel like that was Maddie's kill all season. Like you and Jake were just like this, but like in a friendly way, like a friendly.
Yeah, Jake and I had like a history of friendship, so it was very much like we went in being like, "You have my back yet?" And he absolutely did not. And that lie made me so mad.
So that is the next part of this is shoot. I'm personally shooting Andrew because I felt it's really toxic of him not to be here on this ORCA pod with us. He big timed me. Anyway, whatever, Andrew, I'm shooting you now. So Maddie, who are you shooting?
Despite Zach's prediction, not actually Jake. Mine would be one of two.
We can shoot them both. Honestly,
Andrew,
shoot them
because
both.
I loved Andrew's explanations. They were so funny, but they always just went on that little bit too long, and I was kind of like tired by the end of them. But also probably Geoff, because he had it out for me at one point and like really came for me, like assuming I'd voted for him, and like was really aggressive. So I'll take him out.
Okay, Geoff is one of the ones whose names I remember because I was referring to him in my mind as Jorts Geoff. And like the red flags, the moment I saw those 3/4 length jorts with the like socks pulled up and the nutties, it was just too much for me. All right, sorry, Ben. Who are you wanting to shoot here?
Kath.
Oh, Kath.
No hesitation.
Yeah, okay.
I'm sorry. If you get the wrong end of the stick and you're going to come for me, be prepared, because you'll still walk the door before me. So no.
Yeah, absolutely right.
And that's what happened.
I love her because she's on the surface quite sweet, but she's got a snarky side, and you're gonna have to be quick on the draw if you want to shoot Kath before she.
She was a real dark horse through the game.
Yeah.
Oh, she was.
She really
she was very happy to like throw her alliance anywhere as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I
That's
love.
a good call.
May I just before we go any further as well? I love the little interaction when Zac, Caitlin, and herself was all at that island. It looked very wonderfully awkward. It's great viewing, I will say.
Most awkward conversation of my life, I think, is my quote on that one.
Yeah.
Okay, talk to me about that because I missed that while I was watching on 2X. So talk me through that interaction, Zac, as it happened.
Oh, this was later down the line, but sure. Yeah, I mean, like, it was, I forget who won the challenge, but it was you, like, I think it was Ben, Hal, and Jake, was it? That all went to, like, the winners kind of circle type of camp. Then there was people back at camp, which was Samara, Raph, and Andrew. And then Caitlin was sent kind of as bottom of the alliance to babysit Kath and I. And like it was at the point where I thought that I could get further in the game as a single purple by myself. Like I was already by myself, but Kath really wanted to work with me, and I was like, "Girl, you were dragging me under the bus." Like just me trying to throw her under at that point, because I didn't think she was good for my game. So I was there trying to throw Kath under the bus. Kath was trying to work with Caitlin and I, saying, "You know, Caitlin, you're on the bottom." And I'm trying to throw Kath further under to go, Caitlin, just work with me. Let's just get rid of her. But we're all standing as a 3 in a circle. And so we were waiting for people to take each of us away for confessionals to have these really awkward chats. And it was just like, 20 minutes of nothing, you know, like it was stalemate and you were all just standing there and everyone knew that no one wanted to be talking to those particular people. So it made for an extremely awkward time, which is wonderful to watch on camera.
I love that. I love it when you get a group of like slightly socially awkward people anyway, and then you throw them into a super socially awkward situation and it's just fireworks.
That would
you get the second-hand awkward watching it.
Yeah, my shoot is probably shoot myself in that situation because it was that awkward.
Yeah, Katie. Yeah, all right. Who are you shooting? You're the last one we're shooting.
Yeah, look, I'm gonna go with Maddie. I think out of paranoia, Geoff. For sure. Like I felt he was coming for me. I think he was coming for Maddie and not me, but I was having a full, like I am anxiety incarnate. And I feel like it was just me so paranoid. And yeah, it was, I mean, really it was working with these other two here that we kind of did take him out of the game.
I feel like I'm getting heart palpitations just thinking about it.
I know. And I don't want to make him angry. It was like backing a cat into the corner. Like he knew was on the bottom. So he was just wanting to be there so bad. It wasn't actually that he was being particularly nasty in any way. It was just coming out as aggression, I think, by accident. is my perception. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think there was any like malice or anything behind it. I think he just was. He was in it to win it, 100%, and it just like the delivery of it was just not
Babe, there's
well
like
received.
4 people watching. One of them is not Geoff. All right, you can just chill. Okay, Josh says legends. Maddie, you were my favorite pre-merger.
Thank you.
Cute. See, there we go. We know Ben Snyder's one of them. Josh is the other. You can just go loose on Ben's save. All right. Finally, we're doing marry. So Ben, who are we marrying?
Oh gosh, hold on. Again, I have to check who was in the season.
Oh my god. Okay. Obviously, you can't commit to them for live.
I'll go with Hal. Well, exactly. You were my close second, but you threw me under the bus actually at that point as well. So I have to remember those things.
Yeah.
Oh, he was quite cute.
But
Helen.
well, I mean, we're good now. But like, just thinking back,
Yeah, and he's quite socially savvy. I thought, I was listening to the recap of this, and CK and Jules were saying how if anybody else had been exiled at the get-go, they would have been stuffed. But he seemed quite charming for an LRGer. I say as an LRGer who, can be a bit of a bitch. Okay, Maddie, who are you marrying?
And now that Zach's put the idea in my head, Stephen, I just think he's lovely. He's so sweet.
Yeah, and I might take your fuck. We can switch. We can be in a four-way. Yeah, maybe Sammy or even Liv. Like me and Liv got on. She's so sweet. Oh, Caitlin. Actually, I'm changing to Caitlin. I love Caitlin. There's too many people to marry in this cast.
I didn't even talk to Caitlin the whole show. I don't think so. It took me a while, but when you said the name Caitlin, I was like, who? But Caitlin was the really quiet one initially, right?
You know what? And I love you, Caitlin. I'm sure you're a really sweet person. I was getting wet blanket from her in the first episode, like just very sweet and there, but a little bit wet. Anyway, Ben wants to let me know that he would marry me if we were talking about Melbourne Survivor Season 3. I assume you're talking about me, Ben. If you're talking about Max or CK, you're cancelled. Okay. So, all right. So I've got a little bit of, you potentially didn't listen to this, but in the recap podcast with CK and Jules rude. She said she would marry Maddie because she's Jules's kind of girl. Cute. Love that. But she would kill Ben because, quote, he was kind of annoying. But Jules's view was that Ben would prefer to be killed than not mentioned at all. What's our take on that, Ben?
Hot take.
Look, I jumped into that stream just a little bit and I had to turn it off because I didn't think she knew what she was talking about.
Yeah.
That's
Jules
just
is
my
the problem.
truth. I don't have time for rubbish, if I'm honest. If you're not here and you don't know what's actually going on with the show and people who talk about Backyard Survivor, if they know what's going on, I ain't got time. I've got stuff to do. There's much more things to do in life than that rubbish, I'm honest. That's my take.
I mean, I'm with you on that insofar as I always disagree with everything Jules has to say. However, babe, it was 20 hours long and the season was 11 hours long, which means only half the content was on the cutting room floor. And surely some of that was shepherding you from location to location. We can't have missed that much. I found you endearing.
Thank you. That's very nice. But yeah, that was exactly the part that I joined. And when she was going, wow, 7 hours, and I was like, it's not the same as yours. I'm sorry. So that's all I have to say. Really with that.
I love it. Okay.
I'm sure she's a lovely person. Let me just say that because
she's the absolute worst. She's the absolute worst. All right. Speaking of the worst, Andrew, kidding, Jules, I love you. Andrew was a huge presence in this season. I got that, and I was watching on 2X, only a handful of episodes. Also, I wanted to say Andrew cancelled because he big timed me. He was just a massive screen hog. And also, as you alluded to earlier, Maddie, kind of loved the sound of his own voice. He loved a long monologue. And I loved them. He was verbose and liked to put a bit of color in these speeches. How was that in the real time? And how was that actually watching it back? Was it entertaining or was it a lot? Maddie, you brought it up already, so give me your take. How were the Andrew speeches?
Yeah, look, I agree. He definitely liked to talk, hear the sound of his own voice, and he would make the same point over and over again. He's like, how can I say this exact same thing 5 different ways? Sometimes it'd be really funny. I know there was one point when he was carrying on a bit and we were in stitches and we're all trying not to laugh so we can't be heard, but couldn't tell you what he actually said now. Can't remember it. So it can't have been that iconic, but it was just at the time was so funny. May also have been delirium because we were all so tired. Yeah. But, you know, he had his moments and some of the quotes he would come up with and these weird little sayings and stuff were great. And then he'd just continue rambling and kind of lose you again. So I don't know how the others felt, but it was entertaining sometimes, but a lot of the time it just was rambling.
I just don't feel like we're maybe giving Andrew enough credit. Like, I think it was a strategy to a certain degree. Like, I feel like he would use that space to talk and confuse and deflect. And, like, you know, the more he was talking, the less anybody else could actually argue against him. And he would make sure that his points were long. So, we only had a certain amount of time in Tribal Council. I feel like he knew how to play Backyard Survivor for what it was, looking back, going like, oh, my God, he actually used that. Not because I think he was a screen hog, because I think it was a strategy. But I like super that. Respect it.
That is such a good point, too.
Mm.
That's insightful. I thought he was great, and I actually thought he'd be really good on the real show. And maybe if he's giving the same point like 5 different ways, the editors will love that because they can pick the time he delivered it best. But as you say, Zac, in a shorter game, if you're taking up airspace, it's like less time for people to fight back. Ben, you didn't you were on a starting tribe with him, am I correct? No?
Yeah,
yes?
That's correct.
So you got the full experience. Talk to me.
Yeah, he's actually a really lovely guy. Like, working with him in the show, he was a really nice guy, like really trusting. He would very much be the leader of the group in that sense. So he kind of would direct you into what would be the best way to do. He's a really nice guy. I thought he was good. I mean, with the metaphors, I mean, I just let him carry on. And I think Zac's quite right. It's very much a tactic in terms of how to play the game of like, I'm working out what I'm going to do next, but I'm not going to tell you who I'm actually voting for exactly. But yeah, he's great. He would be great for the show as well. He's a great guy.
I feel like I wish I knew that was a tactic, the talking thing. I feel like you could just let me talk and ramble and I would have done that too.
You would have nailed that, Maddie. You'd have nailed that. You were great. I loved it when you actually your opening where you're like, yeah, I'm here, I'm confident, I'm ready to lead. I can sense this other guy on my tribe wants to lead as well. Are we going to butt heads over that?
I was 100% ready to just take people down. I was like, yeah, I'm going to be ruthless. And then I was like, oh, these people are lovely. I trust everyone. I just completely shot myself in the back.
Now, Ben, you were on Orange. Zac and Maddie didn't start there. Blood Orange. Sorry, honeys. There were a lot of... okay, I want to say weirdos, but...
Sorry to interrupt you. I just want to say I'm changing my shoot answer to whoever decided that Blood Orange was going to be the tribe name. Because that's what I was like.
Who was it that came up with that idea?
I have no idea who really came up with it in the end. I don't think it was me.
Well, you better hope not.
I have no idea. I don't remember too much about that specific thing. The only thing I do remember, however, was the chant. Everyone was like, we should do a chant. And I was like, well, yeah, you lead it. And I was like, oh, okay. Yeah.
What was the chant?
Come
on.
I can't remember now. You'd have to watch it.
Oh, no.
She did 2 times.
I'd rather die.
It was just like Blood Orange, ooh-ha-ha type vibe. It was like a nothing chant.
It wasn't memorable. Let's put it that way.
So no, Snyder in the chat. Blood Orange was actually one of the starting tribes. So Ben, there was some big personalities on that tribe. Talk me through the dynamic and what it was like being there.
It was good. It was sort of like See, this is the way I played it, and I always say this, like, you sort of take a step back from it all, because there are so many people on that tribe who wants to take control, they want their moment, but the thing is, if they do something wrong, you're going to be voted out first, in that sense, so it's like I said with that puzzle to begin with, like, and it was only seconds that Maddie had put it all in and then jumped back, whereas we had already was saying, like, you need to put it in, jump out, that's it, done, switch around, because people are watching. And that's where you know where people are like, oh, I want to do it, I'll do it, because I'll be the one, I'll be the greatest hero. And I'm like, oh, I'll just stand back and watch this unfold. I'll take my time with how that goes. I mean, it was interesting. I just took a step back. I observe, and then I take my step. Yeah, it was good. It was interesting. It was very interesting. You learned a lot about people. That's what I'm trying to say.
People really seem to gravitate towards you as well. I noticed, like a lot of when Andrew's trying to gather everyone into this big happy clappy situation, and then the girls are trying to break off with you. Kiara seemed to really like cling to you, and then you lost her in the first vote. Would you say? But you would say that Andrew was the leader insofar as he was taking up quite a bit of space. Okay,
very much so. He was the leader. He knew that I put the vote on Caitlin as well, like, because she just went to Exile in one of the episodes and then came back, and I was like, she should go next. But he already knew, and there was only 2 votes. One was Kath and one was me. Yeah, I didn't follow suit, so that was pretty obvious, I suppose. I don't like following people though. I like to do my own thing.
We've got a lot of leaders here. All right. Meanwhile, Zac and Maddie, you were over with Jort's Geoff. He seemed to really step up at first as well. So, Maddie, did you find that you could be co-leaders together, or were we clashing a little?
I had no idea what I was doing. So I went in bold and immediately realized that maybe some people actually had a gameplay and that might be ideal to follow. Yeah, Geoff was definitely an intimidating presence, I would say. He was very outspoken about how he thought we should play the game and how we should vote and what direction we should go and things like that.
But I feel like you look at the boot order, and I found that James and Liz were so much more threatening than Geoff, because everyone could see that Geoff was like that. But Liz and James are like, I'm not saying Geoff isn't smart, but they were playing smart, and they were using.
They were really sly.
Shield. Yeah, they were sly. And that was way more scary to me than Geoff initially before.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe initially, but Zac, you end up having like a little bit of a. I did catch this on the 2X. Let me tell you, you end up having like a bit of a. Do I want to use the term confrontation? Anyway, there was a clash at one point with you and Geoff. How did that come about?
I think he really trusted that I would go with his plan. I think he was, when you're in the game, and I'm sure you can appreciate this from your own time playing and from other more established other TV shows. But like, I think you see yourself as the main character to some degree, and you see your perception and you know what's happening, and that's your story, and that is the story. I think Geoff got really caught up in that, and he thought the vote was going to go the way it did. And then when we had to come back to camp and he was like, what was that? I was the person who had lied to him, and that was where the conflict was. Does that make sense? Like, I just kind of shattered that sense of everyone kind of, you felt like you knew what was going on until the first vote happens, and that's where all the kind of conflict started with Geoff, because he realized that he was actually not on the right side of the numbers, and that I think scared him a bit, which would scare anyone.
Yeah, he took it really personally almost.
Yeah, he did. But at the same time, watching it back, and I didn't know, like, my name was thrown out there for the first couple of votes. It was like, yep, we'll use him, and then we'll just section it off. And that blew my mind, because no one tells you that stuff, and you're like, oh, but I thought my game was great, and it's not, your name's always up and floating around.
Yeah, it shattered his sense of reality.
I think he just didn't know how to take it.
And then everything we told him after that, it was just, well, how do I know you're not lying this time? Because you've already done it once. Like, he could not claw that trust back with him. He was immediately just we were all in the bad books with him after that.
I think he would have been a great number for Orange. Like, he really wanted, like, once that had happened, he was like, I'm defecting. But I think, like, Ben, your tribe, and you were like, you know, there's that constant narrative of you being like, nah, got to get him out, got to get him out. Like, you guys were already seeing him as this threat.
It's because he already made himself like the big nasty monster, like, to begin with. Like, why would you put yourself at the start of a show being like, this is me, I'm going to be the winner, I'm coming for you, I need alliances, work. That's too hard. When you come in too
Didn't
hard...
he say it in the introductions as well? Like, when we very first, like, kind of spoke, he was, like, one that was like, I'm taking out the winner.
Yeah.
There was, like, 3 people who said that they were there to backstab and be the worst, the biggest and the baddest, so... So, Ben, so you got to spend some time with him on a swap tribe, did you? And were immediately rubbed the wrong way.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, we were all there.
Yeah. I was on, all of us.
Yes.
Yeah, we were all on the same tribe. And it was just Maddie and Zac who were left from that. And then me, Jake, and Samara, Marathon Girl, came over. And so we were all together with Geoff as well. And so Zac and Maddie were like, oh, help us. Someone help us, please. And I was like, okay, sure. And so Geoff took me aside and was like, I need to work with you, and they're going to get me out. And I was just like, well, I don't want that energy either. So I was like, Zac, Maddie, let's do it. Let's get rid of.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because that's the one where I didn't vote for Geoff.
Oh,
and that's when he came for me.
Because you wanted to be, on the, not recognized as still wanted to be perfect.
Yeah, my theory was like, I could see the numbers were changing. And I thought, Geoff does need to go. Now's maybe not the right time. And so I didn't vote for him. And I was the only one who didn't vote for him. And I was the one that got, like, the barrage of, like, you betrayed me at the, like, the tribal. And I was just like, man, I'm the only one who didn't actually. Like,
I don't really know why he came for you so hard. Like, I think my perception was he was coming for me because I genuinely thought I had done way more to him than you had ever had. Like, I had the idol that everyone was looking for, and then you were the scapegoat of by him, not by anybody else. Of Maddie's got the idol because she's dancing around with a stick, and that just became a thing for a while, which was a lot.
It's just the weirdest narrative. Like, God forbid I enjoy myself while I'm doing absolutely nothing else at camp.
You were too happy for this show. Get out.
I mean, alternative theory, he did say in his exit interview that he had shaved his balls for this. Do you think it was having itchy testicles that was kind of putting him in this sour mood?
Possibly.
Did any of you shave?
I can't speak to how that feels. So.
No. Did you shave anything in particular to go on Backyard? No. I shaved my armpits to go on the Traitors. That was quite an experience. All right, let's talk about idols now. So CK wants to talk about Liz misplaying her idol. Personally, I would never, Queen Liz. But Zac and Maddie, you were there. How shocked were you to find out that Liz had an idol and she didn't play it, given she was so obvious a target?
I mean, we didn't know because she left with it, and then no one from our tribe ever got the idol. So, like, I didn't really find out until I was actually, spoiler alert, kicked, and then she kind of disclosed all of that. We just really, like, and this is a bold strategy by Maddie, because I was like, Maddie doesn't know what she's doing, was essentially my view at the time. And she was like, whatever. And she was like, throw my name out there to her. And I was like, all right, girl, if you want me to do that, I'll do that. And Maddie was like, tell Liz it's me. And because she was so confident and we weren't going to betray an alliance member and Maddie was happy to put herself up there, it really worked to our favor. And when she came back, everyone just told her Maddie, and she went to so many different people that she was so solid in that. Yeah, I don't know. We must have really convinced her in her head because she's a smart girl.
It was weird because that was then when we got to that final, like, if you think you're going to be voted for, if you have any last words, what do you want to say? And she just put out this desperate plea.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like, well, surely you must think we're coming for you then. Yeah. Like, obviously, we'd played a bit of a smart con there. But yeah, it was the fact that she then obviously felt a little bit threatened, but not enough to play the idol. Was a bit strange.
And I have no idea why Geoff wouldn't tell her. Like, he knew that she and her were on the bottom, and he was so scared that he came with us and didn't tell her. But he pretty much knew she was getting the votes.
Yeah.
Like, or
For
even
my
if you thought we
reference-
were lying. Yeah.
Is this before or after Geoff has cracked the shits with you?
After.
Before.
Like, he'd already...
Okay, and he's still not spilling.
Oh,
No,
sorry, it
because-
was after he cracked the shit with Zac.
Yeah,
before
because
Okay.
yeah, because James had gone in that first vote, and
Mhm.
then he cracked the shits, and Liz was on Exile, so he thought, oh, it's me. But then she came back before the vote, and we were like, we'll go for Liz, regardless of whether it was a lie or not. I think he would have probably told Liz we're on the bottom, but I don't know, he didn't. I thought he maybe thought he could reclaim and go with our numbers, but I still thought he would maybe share with Liz, because I was shocked when we left that he didn't. That she didn't play that idol.
Yeah, I was surprised to find she had one at all.
Yeah.
All right, beautiful. Love that. Liz, come on, sweetie.
Well,
Ben.
she.
Oh, sorry, Zac. No,
No, I was
you
just
go.
going to
I
say,
was gonna change the
Liz
topic.
didn't think very, like, that edit from Liz, she didn't think we were playing the game. I wonder if that was the reason that she didn't play it. Like, she was like,
She didn't see any of us as a threat.
Yeah, she's like, I won't he hate my tribe. She didn't think we were playing at all. Which I guess we were.
So was she very insulated in that three of James, Geoff, Liz, and because they had been able to dictate the first couple of votes, that kind of lulled them into a false sense of security? Was that the issue?
Well, they were the only ones who went off together, but they thought that was them strategizing, and we were kumbayaing back at the camp, when really it was kind of, oh, they removed themselves, let's scramble this four together. And Maddie was at confessionals at the time, and then I caught her on the heel, I think, and was like, we want you. And you were like, all right, let's do it.
Okay.
So then we had a 5 against a 3, because we just didn't want Maddie and end up getting swept up with the 3. But I don't know, we must have played it really under the radar, and it looked like we were just doing nothing.
I stand an overconfident minority alliance. It's giving US Traders Season 2. All right, Ben, you gave a lot of Gangster Godfather confessionals. You were running the game, at least up here, okay? So how shocked were you to get burned on the 4-4 that saved Zac, and more significantly, find out that you were burnt by Jake and Samara on the revote?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was brutal.
I was annoyed. I was like, what the hell? I mean,
That
partially
was
I
so
kinda
good.
grab a cookie, but like at the same time, I was a bit like, whoa, all right, fair enough. I didn't see that coming. That was a good old blindside, I will say. But I was quite pissed off at the time, but also very happy to have a cup of tea. So yeah.
Yeah, talk to me about, I didn't watch that episode in particular on 2X, so talk me through your mindset. Talk me through your mindset in that episode. Talk me through your boot episode, Ben. Where did you think you were?
How are you?
Look, he's upset already thinking about it.
Sorry, I'm just. So.
How am I hosting? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
It's worse than Jules.
Watch the show. I just need to ask the questions convincingly.
I love it. Don't get me wrong.
Gossip. I don't care what you did.
It's great. Gosh, let's have a think. Yeah, I thought I was sitting pretty. I thought it was safe. I thought we were good. I was actually trying to take Zac with me, and I was like, please believe me, just stay on top. Don't vote me out. But then I also flipped and then tried to vote him out as well. So yeah, either way. And then I just thought, oh well, I'm out. Oh yeah, it's just like you get a full sense of security by everyone. That's what the whole game is. And then it's just like, nope, you're not sitting pretty. And the thing is, I talked to too many people and lied too much. And everyone knew all that and I just didn't. So that was my downfall.
Your like exit interview is my favorite of the season. It's kind of like this weird like ascension to heaven where you're like, oh, c'est la vie, I've been knocked out. But like you were still half in, half out of the game where you're like, you know, I'm the king of this game and see you later, everybody else. And you know, like it was great. I was like, oh, he's trying to process this.
Yeah. It was a lot. I mean, I can't remember what time it would have been voted out, but it would have been past 1 o'clock at least. And like it was late. Yeah, delirious. When you play a nearly 24-hour game, like those games, season 1 to 3, they were tough. Like, because even I was on production for season 2 as a cameraman, and that went on to 4 o'clock in the morning, and our one is till 3 o'clock in the morning. And you do get that sort of element of actually playing Survivor because you're just so tired, you've not eaten, and you're trying to play a game, and you're just sort of like your whole sense of just starting to shut down, and you're just like, you're trying to be happy, but it's somewhere else. You're like, well, I'm pissed, but also I want to chill. I just need to eat, but I'm not hungry because I'm so stressed by it all. But it's all fun.
I don't think Caitlin ate until 1 a.m. when they passed her a piece of chocolate on camera.
Yeah.
Like, you see her like absolutely destroy it because she hadn't eaten all day.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Why don't they just put you to bed at night and then continue in the morning? Was that a...
Well,
they
that's
wanted
what
you to
they
be
do now.
Yeah. Okay. Well, look, Ben, from the 2X parts that I watched, you were the king of the season to me. All right. Down to the bits that I care about. So has anyone, obviously, LRG's famously incestuous. Has anyone from your season ever gone on to date?
I don't think so.
No, not
Really?
cast. Not cast.
No,
not cast.
not a single one, I don't think. Not that I'm aware of.
Really?
Yeah.
Are we a boring season because of that?
Well, I mean, I don't think that was the reason they were calling it boring, but I mean, that doesn't
So many
help.
hot hookups on set, though. Like, everyone was just a big party afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, look, even Ben says I've seen it happen in other LRGs. It's true. I mean, Ben, it's Max and I were together for 2 years after ours. So okay.
Maybe it's an East Coast thing.
Must be.
I'm trying to think of even the other seasons. I'm like, I don't think. I don't know if Josh is still watching. He'll know. Put it down in the comments, Josh.
Yeah, Josh.
He knows.
Josh
Josh knows
couldn't
everything.
come live. All right, so let's talk about the winner then. Hal played a fantastic social game, solid strategy, amazing challenge performance. He was pretty paranoid throughout, but still kept it in check. Did any of you ever think of voting him out? Ben?
Yeah.
No.
Zac, go.
Zac, go.
Talk to me about your grand plan to put him out.
This is something that I guess almost screwed Maddie and I over in a sense where we chose, if you watch, like I think Steve, Sandy and I were pushing that every time that we had a chance, we would send Hal to like the redemption or what was it called?
Exile.
Exile. Whatever. Exile. Because we wanted to separate him as we wanted him not as a number for purple. I mean for orange. He'd been to orange so just on and off, and we thought the more we remove him, the less they'll care. And so when the swap happened and Maddie and I were there with Geoff, we were like, well, we know that there's been talk about getting Geoff gone. He's clearly not on our side. I want to work with Maddie and Ben and Samara. And I went to Ben and was like, yo, can we yeah, thanks, Ben. Ben, let's work together with you, Samara, Maddie, and I, and we'll do this cross-tribal thing. And then the only other person on our tribe other than Geoff was Hal. And I was like, great, we've sent him there so many times. He can't.
Yeah, surely he'll be with us.
Yeah, surely Ben and Samara will be like, okay, get this random out. We'll start working with these guys. And we were at a disadvantage anyway with Jake coming back in with a number. And I thought, yeah, Ben and Samara will work with us. And it just didn't really work out in our favor. I mean, we were good. Ben and I and Samara were and Maddie were fine. It's just when it came to crunch time, they wanted to stick with orange, which was fair enough.
I think Hal and Jake were very close as well, which worked to our disadvantage, unfortunately, because we didn't realize Hal had been drawn in so much.
Yeah, that's my point. He must have played an incredible social game in the small amounts of times he was at orange with and Ben, you could probably talk more to it, but we were trying to keep him away as much. And then my plan was to work with Samara and Ben in the next vote if they did vote with Maddie and I, which was kind of how it worked. But then you guys flipped back. I wanted Hal out on that vote because I thought no one wants to work with him. They'd rather work with Jake as a number. Let's just me and Maddie push to get out Hal. But no, didn't work. So he must have had really strong bonds really quickly.
Talk to us about that, Ben, because I mean, they want to stay orange strong, asterisk excluding you. Your close allies are now like sidling you out for Hal. What was his? Talk to us about his pull, his miss.
I think it's because like when on the first episode we lost that one and Kiara went, but we didn't essentially lose anyone because Hal actually got put with us. So essentially we took him in as like an orange team member. So, and the thing is, I suppose he was quite easy to work with. Like he would just go along and be like, yeah, let's do that. That's no problems. We're good. Don't worry about it. Even though he had a strategy in the back here, you know, he knows what he was doing. He started on Exile actually, Ben, and then he got put on.
It's the name of the season.
Watched it
because they lost their player first.
Yeah, like, but that's just how it how it happened. And so I think that's just how he's just super easy to get along with, super easy to work with. He would just say, yeah, let's do that. He'd have his own agenda behind, but he would always be working what he wanted to do. But he was just really a genuine nice guy. You could just believe him and go, yep, that's what we're going to do. So no wonder they would work for him. I was all over the place, so no wonder.
And he was really open to hearing you out and being like, you're like, okay, this is our game plan, it's our strategy, what do you think? And he'd be like, yeah, that sounds really good. Like, and you would believe it. Like, he was very convincing and, like Ben said, very genuine. So you felt comfortable trusting him. I think he played like the longest and best, most efficient game. That's why he took out the win.
That's it. And that's the thing about this season. There was a lot of characters. Like, I even put on a character, big time, put on a big character. That's not me who I am in real life. But when I'm playing a game, you up the ante. You do become annoying to some people. And that's fine. I perfectly appreciate that because I probably would be. But the thing is, the reason why I'm doing that is because you need to put it up to another level. You're not here just to be, oh, hi, I'm your best friend, let's just play. I'm not here to do that. I'm here to play a game. I'm here to put on a persona. We're here to lie, cheat, steal. We're here to get the actual money. And that's just what one of my tactics were. So how did a great job. I thought he was a great player.
And I think Ben, like, underrated. These LRGs can be so boring. Like, thank you for the Bens of the world who decide they're going to come in and, like, actually deliver something. So, no, I appreciate, and you know what? There's nothing wrong with being incredibly annoying, whether it's your natural personality or whether it's just something you're putting on. It's called being interesting. And actually, on speaking to him being genuinely nice, this was something that made me laugh. I was dying. I honestly can't remember what his name was, but that guy was on your tribe, Zac and Maddie, who was pretending to be a family guy, so he seemed nice, but actually, like, I'm a dick. And you clocked him straight away, Maddie. You're like, yeah, okay, this whole nice guy facade, I'm not buying
I didn't buy it at all. That was James. That's why he got the boost.
James,
I was like,
there you go. And then meanwhile, like,
therapy.
Yes, therapy. And Zach's just off in the corner being like genuinely sweet and likable. And James was like kind of had his nose out of joint about it. I was living for it. That was one of my favorite parts of the premiere.
Yeah, he's I think the unfortunate part is James is such a nice guy again. Like he was putting on a character as well. Like, you know, he was flavoring it up, but we were like, oh, that's not authentic, and we knocked him out. And I feel bad because I feel like James could have brought so much to the show. You know, like you don't want a wet blanket at the end because it doesn't make it fun. You know, I'd rather have these really interesting characters. And like I you know, like part of me goes, you know, I was sweet. I got a really good edit. I got like a little bit of an underdog hero edit, but I wasn't as much of a character. I mean, I was just paranoid and anxious pretty much the whole thing. And then me with a bowl of pasta for 2 episodes because I could barely stomach anything. I don't know if you got there on your 2-speed, but 2-speed is still me eating really, really slowly through 2 episodes. Yeah, but like, you know what I mean? Like I wish we got to see more of those characters. Like, and that's why Ben and Andrew are just so fun to watch through the season.
Yes. Yes. We
I
need
think that
to
was the
go. Sorry,
I was going to say that was the thing that blew my mind about Caitlin. I think she was such a like under the radar character, but she got so much further than I anticipated because she beat you out as well, didn't she, Zac?
Yeah.
And
I mean,
I hadn't, like I said, didn't hear her talk like that whole time, and then suddenly she was in like the top 4, and I was just like, how did she get there? When you've got all these big loud personalities, but she just like everyone else had been so much bigger, so much louder, so much more present and like argumentative and really like pushing their game and stuff, that those people had got voted out over her because she'd like stayed a bit more reserved. So that was like a different tactic altogether. I don't know if she's actually like that in real life, that quiet.
Yeah, she's like that.
Yeah.
She's like
She
that.
seems like that.
Yeah. But like,
I feel like this is why you target the boring ones first, okay? Then you're free to have a personality.
Do you know the funny thing was, right, actually thinking about everything, there's a lot of shields in this game. Caitlin was Andrew's shield.
Yes.
So she was working quite closely with Andrew, and she would always be protected no matter. So if it was one of us three on the chopping block, we'd go before Caitlin by all means.
But like Andrew was Caitlin's shield at the same time. Like that was part of her strategy to keep him around because she knew that people were going to gun for him before coming for her. So it was a mutual. It was a mutual strategy work for them. I feel
a mutual shielding.
Yeah, mutual shielding. They just had different perceptions about it, I think.
Yeah.
So was it like, having said all of this about Hal as well, going into that final tribal, was it a slam dunk that he was going to win?
Pretty much, with the 3 people that was sitting there, Hal, Samara, and Jake. I mean, I knew that was going to be my vote, and looking back at the whole thing, like, he wasn't actually put onto a tribe or allocated a tribe to begin with, and I just thought, wow, what a perfect winner. Looking back and watching it, there's all this backstabbing, lying, and talking about each other and all this rubbish, and then there's the genuine guy who actually wins it all, which wasn't actually a part of any team.
I voted for Jake actually to win. I was the only vote. Yeah.
Why?
Well,
he got 2 votes, didn't he?
No, it was just 1, and I think Sammy voted for Samara.
That's right.
Yeah. I voted for Jake because I was trying to get him out from the merge because I thought, easier person to push for, a little bit of a bumbling type dude. Like, he didn't really know how to play the game, but he was in a good alliance type vibe, which was probably why they kept him around for so long. But I was coming after him so hard, and even Maddie and I at the end, we were like trying to, just push for it because we thought, maybe they'll let him go because he wasn't contributing a lot to strategy and stuff like that. But I think because I had so much to do with Jake and so little to do with Hal, because I felt like he was playing a similar game where we just say, yes, niceties to each other, and then never work with each other. I didn't actually get to see how clever he was until the game was kind of over. Like, he didn't show me that, but Jake managed to outmaneuver. I mean, I didn't have a lot of power, but outmaneuver everything that I threw, which is why I gave my vote to him. But man, that final tribal performance was a stinker. I really had to reconsider my vote for a second there. I was like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I think that's, as far as I'm aware, Jacob was like me. We both got pulled in and neither of us had any knowledge or history of Survivor. So he would have just been, cool, got to the top 3. Yeah. Why do you want to win? I don't know, just because I do. Like, now that I'm here, I want the win.
He didn't even want it.
Yeah, whereas Hal genuinely wanted it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Jake just got very lucky. I think if it hadn't been so divided with that real strong orange purple loyalties, Zac could have got further. And I think if Zac had been in the top 3 or the final 3, it would have been a much closer call. Because I think you also played the game really well, Zac. I think a lot of the fact that Ben got voted out over you speaks to that. So I think it would have been a much closer vote at the end if Zac had been in that top 3 as with Hal. Yeah,
I mean, and that's why Andrew didn't want to keep me there. He thought I was going to whitewash it. I but the problem with me is that I never pissed anybody off because I never had the power to piss anybody off, really, other than the votes we made at the start.
You did piss off Geoff, babe. Don't underestimate yourself.
Yeah, that's true. But one vote lost, whatever. But the thing is, like, looking back on your game, like, I don't know about you guys, but I was like, man, I played a great game. And then you look back and I'm like, I didn't really, like, I kind of got, once you fall out of my, like, the majority, like, I kind of floated through the middle. Like, it was Andrew's move, not mine, to get rid of Ben. Like, I was pushing anyone to flip on somebody. And we had briefly discussed it, which is why, because Ben was, like he said, saying to me, like, I want to keep you around, but never, ever threw me a bone about how we were going to get there. And then Andrew came to me and was like, after this next vote, we're all voting Ben. Are you in? And I was like, yeah, I'll take it. I'll take anything. But it was really, I was at the mercy of everybody else's game for most of it. So I don't know if I really would have won because I was an underdog and I made it, but I don't know if it was because of my gameplay. So I reckon you're right. I still think it would have been very close. I couldn't get there.
Oh, I love that. This is beautiful, guys. I want to hear, like, what move you're most proud of, or, like, when you come away, what's that little thing you did and you're like, yeah, I'm kind of a boss. Ben.
I mean, it's probably not a move, but I quite enjoyed the feast that I had. There was the feast episode where I had, like, got sent to Exile on my own, and I just got everything that was at the merge feast, or the merge auction, I think it was, actually. And I just picked up, like, the black buff and went over, and I actually got everything. Yeah, it was a good time. I remember that. The only thing I didn't do was I didn't tell Andrew, which I should have worked with, and Zac, is I had the same advantage as Andrew did, where you could actually have an extra vote. But I didn't use it, so it is what it was. But I had a great time at that at the feast. It was a lovely time. I ate everything. That's why I was so full. I was full of energy. I was having a great time over that way.
You weren't sitting on a bowl of pasta for half the evening?
Oh no, I was having pizza, chocolate, orange juice. I had a beer. Oh, it was a great time.
I think you actually ate more than even I did when I left. Like,
yeah.
Got booted.
The only thing I didn't have was the bowl of rice that Kath had, which I'm happy to let Kath have that bowl of rice, even though
I was literally going to bet $500 on that. I was feeling so sick and I couldn't eat anything that I was like, just give me the rice. And I was like, why the hell does this girl want a bowl of rice? Can you imagine if I actually was just like, yeah, 500, give me the rice?
I wish she'd have done it. That would have been great.
Yeah.
Who was the
You would be well fed and safe.
Yeah.
This is why we're shooting Kath, honestly. Stole the rice from you.
Yeah. It was her
What
rice.
was your proudest moment, Maddie?
Kind of, honestly, pissing off Geoff was kind of funny. So I have no regrets about dancing with that flag. Early on in the game, I was vibing. I was enjoying myself. If that's what was the catalyst for my storyline, so be it. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I heard he was kind of shitty after he left as well. Like, he didn't take the vote out well.
No, yeah, I don't think so.
We all, like, everyone that, like, as everyone got exiled, we were all, like, mingling and gossiping and drinking and things like that. And Geoff was just, like, didn't want a bar of it. Like, just complained for, a solid, 3 or 4 more exiles. Like, even in the end, when he was asking questions and stuff, it was still really, salty that he wasn't the one sitting there in the final 3. Like, oh, I could have played a better game than these guys. Like, get over it, man. It's done. Yeah, out.
I love that energy.
I think
what about you?
I said I think it meant a lot more to him than it did the rest of us. Like, we were going into this to have a good time. Of course, we did want to win. We did want to play the game. But I think when it genuinely is someone's, life, they've watched every single season, they have every download of it at home, and they buy all the merchandise, I think it does mean a lot more to that person.
He was so convinced he would win because of that knowledge.
Yeah. And
I think Kat and Liz were kind of the same. More so Liz. Like, Liz was so set on this idea that, because she knew how to play the game, she'd watched so much of the episodes, she'd, watched all the backyard, everything like that. She was so sure of herself that she was going to win, and we were like, nah.
I think the problem is like you make tiny mistakes at the start of the game, because she was one of those people who put her hand up and said, yeah, this show's like family to me. Like I remember still her answer of being like, this means so much. And I was like, wow, that's so cool. Holy shit, that's like really scary. I want this girl out of the game because she knows so much. I don't know as much as her. And then I think inadvertently it put her in a bad spot, which I feel really bad about. Like you kind of do what you have to do, but
I think
I don't.
I think no, no, I don't regret any of the decisions that I made in the game. It is a game at the end of the day. It's not life or death or like anything else, because like we're real human people and we're actually kind. It's just like those sort of situations will actually affect people a lot more than it would us. So you know what it is.
Well, I think also a lot of, you know, really big fans lose sight of the fact that so much of this is a social game, and particularly in an LRG where it's really short, condensed, you don't have a lot of time to build relationships. It is actually more about the vibes you give off and how people click with you rather than the...
And that's...
You've got to make a lot of more smart decisions as well.
Yeah. I don't know if you know, we're talking out of turn, but if you've seen... Backyard 2 or 4 yet, but
we haven't covered them yet, so I haven't. I've only seen Backyard 1.
Okay. Spoilers for you. I don't know. Actually, it's not. Do you care?
No, just spoil me.
It's been long enough.
I guess Holly goes first in Backyard 2, and then she goes first in Backyard 4, and that's a massive part of her story. And that's exactly what that concept is. Like, Holly's great when you get to know her. And she's snarky, and she's a little bit like, I don't know.
So funny.
She's so funny, but she's deadpan funny. And I think when it's that snap decision making, you see deadpan and you go, oh, maybe she's not as friendly. And it's those, you know, those small things that sometimes people can't escape when it's their personality. And it's not because she's a bad person or anything like that. It's just those mini perceptions at the start of games. And that's what did so many people.
Yeah, she didn't make the connections like as quickly as other people do. Like, I feel like, I can't speak for Orange, but with Purple, like, that group of us, like Sammy, Stephen, you, me.
And Liv.
Who was that here?
Liv.
Oh, Liv, yes. We connected really quickly, and we all had similar personalities. We all got along really well. So it was kind of like, oh, there's our bond. There's our alliance. There's our connection. Whereas if you don't put, like, your best foot forward, essentially, as early on in the game as you can, and people don't have time to make that alliance or that association with each other. And even though that trust can obviously like stab you in the back later down the line, you need to come up with it at some point. Otherwise, you're just running a solo game from the very start, and that makes you a target, I think.
Yeah.
Ranking as well, though, in the same respect, like, especially if you're coming into a big group of people you don't know, it can be quite nerve-wracking, and you're not really too sure on how to actually present yourself.
Absolutely.
I think that it is a downfall within this game if you're not too confident and you're not, you know, not putting on a persona. You just want to be who you are, and then at the end of the day, you're like, oh, I don't know who these people are. What do they think about me? And then you think about it too much because it's just the type of person you are, and then it just turns out to be like, well, bye.
Well, Ben, it also goes the other way. Sometimes you feel too comfortable with strangers and you're just too happy and confident, and they're like, oh, why is she so confident? So there's really no meaning.
What secrets are they hiding to be this happy?
What were you going to say before, Zac?
I was going to say my favorite thing that I did was, I think it isn't the favorite stuff, but I'd rather talk about the things I didn't do well. They're the things that stick with you in games like these. All the mistakes you make, not the things you do well.
I'm missing that.
Yeah, I think, I don't know. I liked finding the idol, but I really wanted to ask you, actually, Annabel, what you think of that twist, if you remember it, where when we pulled buffs, it was by chance that we had the stuff in it, right? I feel like this is controversial in terms of like, would people rather see it hidden, or, you know, Samara and I just drew random buffs and I happened to be the lucky one that had it as a chance to find an idol.
I quite like that. To be honestly, it didn't offend me because I think it's really tough in LRGs to go off and find an idol, right? And can put a target on your back, which I mean, in one way is good because then it's creating drama. But I felt like the randomness, completely comfortable with that. I thought it was a fun moment. I thought it was wild to randomly draw for tribes. That could have gone terribly. But I wasn't super offended by the why. Has that been controversial? Did you all hate that?
No, I think it was Jules who said she didn't like it or something on the other when I was listening to
We've established Jules has really bad takes. We've established that already.
I forget it was somebody. No, I just think it was interesting.
I tell you what, I do want to. Idol. Yeah, you got an idol, but okay. So the final 3 were loaded with idols.
Yeah.
I mean, Zac, it sounds like you were addicted to sending Hal to Exile, where presumably he was able to find a lot of idols. So I don't think we can really blame him for that one. But when you came out the game and you saw just how many idols they were able to accumulate, what was your reaction to that, Ben? Zac, you go because you're ready.
Oh, sorry. No, I thought you were talking to me still. Yeah, it's interesting because the moment that I didn't like the most, or that's fun to talk about, is I guess when Maddie and I are on the bottom of the swap tribe with Ben, and they're choosing between me and Maddie, and Ben's being honest with me, saying you can chill out, it's not you. But me and Maddie had this plan to be like, Maddie has asthma. Let's tell them that they have asthma. They're gonna like keep her around because they want,
they're a very physical group.
Yeah, and I was like, let's make me out to be some real strong person because I'll play the idol on myself. And then they were like, oh, Maddie has asthma. See you later, girl. Which is not the way.
My health did me in. Like, what a way to go. But that was it. It was like, we had it. And they were so convincing. We were like, I was adamantly like, Zac will be a threat to you guys later in this game. Like, he knows his shit. I know nothing. Keep me on. And they're like, yeah. And then Zac went to talk to them, and they're like, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Bye. Like, we were convinced it was going to be Zac.
Weaker than me. Anyway, I guess I'm just too naturally charismatic. But where I was going with this with the idols was in my head, it's like, oh, if I play it on myself and then Maddie and I can take out whoever we wanted. I mean, if I play an idol and they did vote for me, Jake's going to play his idol to keep himself safe. Samara's probably going to get scared and play her idol, and Hal could have played his idol too. And really, it would have been Maddie and Ben only the ones not safe there. Like, we didn't realize how stacked they were with idols at the time. Where, I planned to be all sassy, and I did, and I played my idol and was like, hope you voted for me. And I always thought I should say something like, sorry, Samara, as I played it to like make people think it was going to be someone, and then, all the votes are for Maddie, and it completely is shocked. But I would have loved to see my idol play go better, because I really do wonder if that would have wiped those, like a lot of those idols clean. And maybe Maddie still would have gone home, or maybe it would have been Ben, or maybe they wouldn't play their idols. But I think that would have been a lot easier way to clear that power from that group going forward. So I kind of wish that happened for the storyline, because I just kind of felt untouchable as a watcher later down the line.
When the way we strategized it too, that would have been such a good play, I feel. And it just didn't go the way we expected.
Yeah, on this, DK wanted to know, like, did you ever consider playing the idol on Maddie? Or because of the whole fake asthma plan, in your mind, you were always going to play it for yourself, Zac?
So I guess the honesty is that I was being selfish. I always wanted to play the idol for myself. And I wanted to bring in Maddie as a play of going, let's save us both, but I'm going to play it for myself. And we thought the best, and she was like, I was pretty honest about that. I think I was like, look, I want it to work for both of us, but I'm really scared. So I'm going to play it for myself, but let's dogpile on me. So they go for me. So it works. Like, I don't mind you throwing out my name to make it me, because I'm going to play it for myself. So I considered it, but I thought if things went wrong, or if I played it for Maddie and then all the votes were on me, I was going to look like the biggest idiot ever. Or if they had played all their idols and then it came back on me, I was probably going to go out anyway. So,
we were so convinced that yes, they were going to vote for Zac.
Yeah. Ben, what was your reaction to seeing the millions of idols the final 3 were sitting on like dragons?
I knew Hal had a fake one, and I knew Hal had an actual idol. I didn't know Jake or Samara had it either. And then watching it back, I was just like, wow, if only I like walked in just a few more seconds beforehand, but they already knew I was just like a sneaky person at that point, just going, what we got? What have we got here? What gossip can I get to take back to like Zac or Maddie going, hey, look, I'm still working with you. They've got this. Like, they already knew I was onto that. Yeah, it was interesting. I think I wish it would go a little bit different now watching it back. I kind of wish Zac did play his idol and like somehow it actually went through. Not getting me out, but one of them.
I thought I was working with you. We were never going to go for you. I think we went for Jake because he was again.
Yeah.
Like, you were happy to get rid of Jake.
Jake was a big physical threat. So
yeah, and he was coming like he was dogging Maddie in conversation. So we were like, well, we'll just go there because you guys aren't going to be mad and you still might work with us.
I think if I had more time, I probably would have worked with you both and then switched alliances completely.
I also don't think Jake would have played his idol. I don't even know if he knew what an idol was.
Man, I don't think he would have understood what he had on him
or something.
Yeah.
Like being like, but it's the super idol, and it's like, no, sweetie, not without the other half.
Oh, bless. I mean, speaking of voting for Jake, so CK always does an interview with the winner of the season. I don't know if any of you watched Hal's. But Hal, a little bit shady, suggested, Zac, that you actually knew Jake in real life, and that's why you had voted for him to win. How do you plead?
No, I have not. I saw Jake that once. That's the only time I've ever spoken to Jake.
That day was the first and last time.
Sounds like Hal's just salty I didn't vote for him.
I mean, I didn't listen to the interview, but it sounds like that to me as well. All right. So all of you, like, despite never having watched actual Survivor, Maddie, had taken the time to go and watch Backyard Survivor. Now, already out at this point were seasons 1 and 2, I believe, of Melbourne Survivor. So did no one recognize Liz?
No.
No.
I'm sure people did, but not me.
No. I don't think it ever came up.
No, I don't think so. I think it was interesting that she chose to say that she was from Brisbane. If people could have...
Didn't Kat say she was from Brisbane?
Yeah, she said she was from Brisbane because she didn't want to say the same as Kath. But then I thought, if she was known so much for Melbourne Survivor, why would you say you're from Brisbane? Why wouldn't Kath just say she was from Brisbane?
Literally. That I believe CK had the same comment.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. And yet, Kath, who was shooting, was recognized from some random Facebook page. Ben, did that come up on your tribe, or was that just a Purple Tribe thing?
It didn't come up on ours, no.
Who
I don't know
was
who
George?
said that.
Jeff?
A music subscription or whatever.
Maybe Geoff knew.
I think it was Jort's Geoff who pulled someone aside and was like, by the way, that girl, she's really scary. We've got to go for her.
Yeah, I mean, again,
I don't remember that.
Yeah.
I remember hearing afterwards that like someone had a feeling that Kath wasn't like being honest about where she was from, because even in Exile, I don't think Liz didn't say anything about them knowing each other, even for like after Exile and stuff. It didn't come up for ages. So like most of us started to go, oh, how do you know? How did you get involved? How do you know this person? How do you know that person? Like once, like all the merge and everything had happened. But
you were lying, Maddie. Like no one was telling the truth. Geoff,
yeah, but I didn't know that. I thought we could talk about these things, and like, but I think Liz was the one that was like adamantly like would not share any details about it. So
yeah, you're just too honest and nice.
I know. I just think I'm just not invested in like the gameplay.
You're too busy dancing.
Yeah, it's like, oh well, if I get out, I get out. Like.
So, all right, I do have a couple more questions left, but I do want to know, Ben, was there, is there something that you wanted to share with our devoted listeners? Was there a juicy moment that you wish we saw? Is there something that has been burning, to get off your chest for the last 3 years and you finally have a platform to announce it? Did Geoff shave his testicles because he got crabs the night before?
Oh gosh, you'd have to ask him that. I have no idea about Geoff. Look, Geoff was a character. He was an interesting man, in more ways than one. Look, I don't really have a lot to say other than it was a great time. I love everyone on the season. We made a great season, I think. And I feel like, not to like bag anyone out, I think there's a lot of difference. There's a difference between being entertaining and being boring. And I feel like everyone from season 3 was quite entertaining. Even Caitlin, even if she was, I think it was just the different type of humor or how you got her. And like, it was just, yeah, I think we did very well with the season. It is very different now compared to season 1 to 3, like I say. Not really anything burning. Yeah, just grateful for the experience and the time that we all had.
Oh, that was lovely. Maddie, have you got something less Caitlin-esque to share with the audience?
No, I got no hot gossip, no scolding tea.
Nothing about your game that you're like.
What
no,
game? I didn't have a game plan. That was my game. My game was
Maddie,
having no game.
She was there.
I came. I saw. I absolutely did not conquer in the slightest.
Zach, do you want to talk us through some of your huge mistakes that you've been dying to dissect?
Yes, sure, but I will spill some tea.
Oh, yes.
Because I found out later, and I think they were very embarrassed about this, but they since have left the face of the planet, so it's fine. But Raph, who we haven't talked about at all.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. I forgot about him, but remember him. Yeah.
Yeah. He apparently, because I think his native tongue was French, so he was also playing in English, right? So that also probably added a layer for him. Super lovely. Apparently, I made him really uncomfortable, which I didn't realize. But I said to him in conversation, like, I'll do anything to keep going. Like, let me know. And I think apparently he took it like I'll do anything type vibe, and he was like really taken aback afterwards. So I got the feedback that was what he took. But I feel like it's been like 5-6 years, and he wouldn't care if I shared that.
And he's never hit you up for that BJ?
No, never hit me up. I mean, like he was mortified, like that I would ask. So I think that's why he didn't want to be like he didn't want to play any game with me, because he thought that I was coming on.
It's giving homophobia.
I don't think so.
He called me a bitch on set as well, actually. But he'd apologized afterwards, which was very sweet. But yeah, I don't know if it even got caught on camera or not. But like, yeah, he was like.
I don't think Raph liked me, if I'm honest. He was very, yeah.
I think it was just French. I don't know. I feel like
French. Honestly, I would think he'd be much more like open to suggestive things, given they're like very culturally quite accepting.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Every time I've ever been to France, which is 3 times, I've been publicly masturbated at. So maybe he just was just sad he beat him to the punch, Zach.
Yeah.
Snyder,
so I apologize to him.
Yeah. Snyder wants to know, are any of you going to try and race in the Maverick Cup Series? Against Snyder, famously a Maverick Cup Series racer.
What is the Maverick Cup Series?
What is the Maverick Cup?
Okay, that's a no, Snyder, so I think your win's secure. All right, now we have the Max Johnson. Yeah, I think it's a virtual race. I don't know. I've never watched it. Sorry, Snyder. This is the Max Johnson Max Johnson question, but you've kind of already answered it, Ben. Did you have a nice time? Did you make lots of friends? Was it a lovely experience?
I thought you didn't want a wet blanket answer.
Yeah, Ben already gave his, so we're skipping him. Maddie. Yeah, it was lovely.
How do you say that you had a nice time without sounding like a bit like tricky?
Yeah.
Like,
no, Max is famously a wet blanket. Max is a massive wet blanket. It was
fucking horrible. I was traumatized. I'll never ever do it again.
Okay.
Actually, that's true. You'd never do it again.
I actually was a little traumatized. I genuinely will not do it again. I told Brian that many times.
And I don't think I'd do it again now, actually thinking about it. Like, everything's changed. I will not be sleeping outside. I'm good, thanks.
Oh, Do you know?
All right.
I probably prefer that though, to be honest. But like, yeah, I think Brian asked me a couple of times if I would maybe be interested in doing something again, like fans' favorites or something like that, and I was just like, nah, I'm good, thanks. Like, not interested, not
Okay.
keen.
You'd
Once
do
was
it
enough.
again, wouldn't you, Zach? You'd do it again.
I don't know,
reckon
like
you'd do it again.
Zach, you absolutely would.
I feel like I had a really good time. My anxiety gets really high, so sometimes it would be me battling myself in a longer paced game rather than me battling other people. I like to talk about it. I like talking about it because I can relive it and bitch about how I would do better than everybody else. But then I'm like, oh, would I play again? I don't know.
Cute. Okay, this is the most important question. So, here at the ORCA pod, every season we give out the Bromelo medal for the ORCA of the season. So,
Andrew.
just so you, yeah, okay, you're already there, Zach, but I don't know if Ben and Maddie know what an ORCA is.
A killer whale.
Okay.
Well,
Yes, so
Yes.
it's named for Woofy, who self-proclaimed that he was the orca of his season, but it actually has quite strict criteria. Okay, and just so you don't think that I'm sassing, I am also an orca of my season with tough competition from CK. So these are the 3 criteria. Number 1, propensity for narcissism. So this player has to believe they are the best in the game, they're running it, they're incredible. Okay. Number 2 is strong arming strategy. So they know best and they are going to tell you how to play the game and what the best vote is. And number 3 is loud and proud. If this person hasn't rubbed at least one person the wrong way by the end of episode 1, they do not qualify to be an orca. Okay. So propensity for narcissism, strong arming strategy, loud and proud. People are already voting for Orca of the season. There's been some rogue votes because people often don't understand the criteria. I would like you each to pitch your nominee from your season for Orca. Zach, you're going with Andrew, and I have to say I think that's the correct take, but please explain to us.
Yeah, it's Andrew or Geoff for me. Like, I don't know. It's really going to be a toss-up between the 2 of them. But I just think Andrew's humor. I think humor. I don't recognize Orca has many different things, but I feel like when I've heard it talked about, for me, the character and the energy and the fun that comes with all of that narcissism is stronger for me with Andrew than it is for Geoff. If that makes sense. Like, I liked watching them both on camera, but I liked seeing how Andrew kind of played the game better.
No, I agree. I think Andrew, for me, captures the fun element of being an orca rather than just like, who was the asshole. Yeah. All right, Ben, do you have a pitch? I think you could pitch yourself as well, Ben. You were giving me orca energy when I was watching.
Yeah, sure. Why not? Because I haven't got a crown still. I'm waiting for my still crown. So yeah, let's vote for me. I'm the orca. No, I would love to actually put Geoff, if I'm honest. Geoff is like, look, he was pretty fun. Like, we're still talking about him today. Like,
he
may have rubbed everyone the wrong way, but like, he was literally still quite great entertainment. We watched him. He was like rubbed everyone up the wrong way. You could see Maddie and Zac trying to vote him off. Even the time when we voted off James, there was the shock. What's going on? Oh my God, that was perfect. It was so good. And then he was like, well, I'm on the outs. What are we going to do now? What we're going to do? Someone come up to me. I'm up in the tree. I'm out there. I'm doing, he's great. He's everywhere. Geoff, that's who I'm going for. He's the orca.
Yeah, I love that. I love that as well. All right, Maddie, what about you?
God, tiebreaker, I think, because I agree with Ben and Zach. It could go either way with Geoff or Andrew. I think if Geoff had lasted longer and had more time to like push his ideas and stuff on, he would have got my vote. But I'm going to go Andrew because I feel like his gameplay and his strategizing was just so strong. And I really do think the narcissistic thing, loved to talk, loved a good rant, but I think it played to his strength. And yeah, that was that. Now that Zac has put the idea in my head that was part of his strategy potentially, yeah, I think Orca would go to Andrew for me.
Yeah, if I'm breaking it down, like loud and proud, rubbing people the wrong way. I mean, yeah, Andrew copped like some random vote at the first tribal, but it's really Geoff who's rubbing people the wrong way from the get-go. So I think Geoff wins on loud and proud. But strong arming strategy, I think Andrew's a clear winner there. So then it really comes down to propensity for narcissism. So who thinks that they're running the game in their confessionals? I mean, kind of, it's Andrew. And
That's Andrew for me.
So,
I think he really thought he had the game under wraps. He was like, they're listening to me. I've got this. They are my team and I am the leader. Like, he really felt that way. Geoff never really, I think Geoff knew he was lower down the ladder.
Reality.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah,
like
as soon as Geoff was like, oh, I'm not running this game, that was it for him. Whereas Andrew just genuinely believed he was the whole time. I think Andrew was shocked when he himself got voted out.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Well, this was so much fun. I had the best time with you three. Like, so much so, I'm not even making this up. I'm literally going to watch the other episodes I didn't watch on 2X.
Don't lie to us. Don't lie.
No, I am. I mean, I'm not going to watch all of them. I'll probably skip the first. Now I know that.
Just watch the bit that we are in. And then once the three of us are gone.
Pre-mergy where Maddie goes, and I'll watch from your boot episode to the end. But on 2X. Like, I'm not doing it at one speed. 2X with captions on.
It gets dark.
This was fun.
And
once that goes, like, that's it. Forget it. Like, it's really between those two. That's the point I'm interested in. Maybe the finale if they're lucky. All right, team. This was genuinely the best time. Thank you for coming on. I know it's been 3 years, and it can be nerve-wracking doing a live stream, but we had the best time. Thanks, Snyder, in the chat for being our loyal commenter as always. And thank you for everybody who's watching this after the fact. Bye.
Bye.
Don't leave. Oh, God, there's always someone who does this.
Too late.